Hello traders, today is Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024. I'm going to go over 14 different names. Keep in mind, this is not financial advice. This content is for educational purposes, and I strongly suggest you do your research and due diligence before you risk your money in any type of investment. That being said, let's start with AFRM. Been mentioning AFRM for a while. Things are playing out that the way we were expecting so far, and some of the things that I said yesterday, for example, is that it would be optimal if we stay in range, maybe between this area right here, which is 47.8 and 42.5. That would be fantastic in my opinion, and even better if we stay into this small range, which I find a little bit unlikely, between 45 and 42.5. The reason why I'm saying that is just to cool down things a little bit, even though I see the MACD and the TSI at this point, and they're kind of neutral. But I like the fact that we didn't have a break of this level today. We'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll see what happens throughout the week. But at least we're still on, over the support level at 42.50. We're still over the 35 SMA. If we go back to the 5-minute chart, you can also tell that the session started with a little bit of a sell-off towards, I guess, in the beginning of the day and towards almost 9 a.m. Pacific time. And then buyers came back in, and on the 5-minute, you went over the 35 SMA, 200 SMA, and now you are on your way towards the 325 SMA. Now, keep in mind, this is a 5-minute chart, so, I feel more comfortable looking at this indicator right here, the 35 SMA, on the 1-day chart. Anyways, I do believe that if we maintain 42, or even if we go down to 40, I think that that level is even more critical. If we break 40, that would be difficult. But I think we have room to go maybe to 40 and stay between 45 and 40. That would be optimal in my opinion. A little bit unlikely to actually stay in this little range. I would stay away from trading, I guess, in any direction until you actually don't see a better indication of what way this stock is going to go. Is it going to go to the upside, which I think it will, especially if earnings are positive. But now it would be great if we actually get between 45 and 40 in this area until we get to November 7th, I believe, yes, which is when AFRM is reporting earnings. That's what I have for AFRM. Not a bad day. It was flat. It was straight up. I think it was down almost 3% at one point. And then, as I said, buyers came back in and saved the day, up at 0.78%. I don't care about after hours pricing. Nothing really dramatic in this case. Pre-market is, in my opinion, more telling. Anyways, let's move on to a name that I actually like right now, and I mentioned this in the past as well, and that is Amazon. It's looking pretty good. This is the 1-day chart, as you know. We're still under this level right here, which is 190. I think if we break, we did try to break this a couple of times today, but we got rejected. And you can see right here on the 5-minute chart, you went all the way up, then you came down, you were kind of on the 35 SMA, you went up again, and then sellers came back in, and you had the 200 SMA as some sort of support. But anyways, I do think that at least on the technical level, things are looking good. They had some pretty decent announcements. Excuse me. MACD and TSI are not looking bad at all. RSI is also starting to point up, so maybe volume is coming in. So as far as technicals, I think this is looking pretty good. I did buy some calls that expire in January today, and they were 195, I believe. They're one. I don't have my brokerage account open, but I think they're 195. So I'm at this level right here. So they're moving very nicely. I like the fact that I'm buying now January. I was thinking about February or March, but I think I'm still gonna sell this within that week or so. We'll see how this moves. If I see, as you know, a little bit of weakness or anything like that, I just bail and then wait for a better opportunity if that is the case. But at least for now, I think it's crucial to break this resistance level at 190. and then we can see probably a continuation towards 200. That would be super optimal. That would be great. As far as resistance, keep an eye on this trend line, but also number one, keep an eye on the 35 SMA, which is being pretty strong in this area right here. That's what I have for Amazon. Let's move on to another name that was behaving quite interestingly today, and that is ASTS. Mentioned this quite a few times. I also made a couple of posts on X about ASTS. I think the last time I mentioned this name was, let me look this really quick, on the 18th. Let's go back to that candle. I think it was this big daddy right here. No, it was this one right here. So we were over support at 27.6. Then we went down to the 35 SMA yesterday, and today we actually had quite an interesting day. You had a very nice move in the beginning of the day. So you are right here, 22nd. You moved pretty aggressively in the beginning of the day by 7:30 in the morning Pacific time, and then you actually saw, I guess, sellers coming in, and then you went back to this support resistance level throughout the day. Now, I do think, as I mentioned before, you know, when volume and catalysts come for this name, it's moving pretty aggressively. I like that. But for now, just keep an eye on the 35 SMA. I'm going to be honest, MACD and TSI are not looking the best. RSI is okay, but you have to break this volume shelf. Obviously, today there was a complication, or I guess a difficulty, that's a better word, you know, around this order shelf right here. I think if we break this level, we actually would have a very nice momentum to the upside. Another thing that maybe was, and I'm not sure about this, but maybe was a negative news for this was the earnings coming from Verizon. They have a contract with Verizon for the technology that they are trying to launch into space. So that could be a little bit of a, you know, a reaction towards what we saw. Let's take a look at this news. On Monday, Jim Cramer, who described the company as overvalued. That's actually good. If Jim Cramer is talking shit about this company, that's actually a really good thing, as you all know. But anyways, you know, going more into that technical side of things, keep an eye on this level right here, 27.66. If you are over it with volume, you have to break this liquidity area right here, and then you're gonna get into a more loose liquidity side of things towards 31. I think the next price target will be 31 as long as we break the 27.6 level. That's what I have for ASTS. Now let's take a look at Bitcoin, because I mentioned Bitcoin quite a few times lately. And one of the things that I was saying, you all know, you gotta break the 200 SMA. When we were here, it happened, didn't happen. Then you had this double bottom. You broke this level right here at 63.97. And then my next level was 67.3, which is this right here. I added this level right here, which is 68.9. And the reason why is because this goes back to 2021 and it's a pretty consistent level. So that's why I looked into something that might give me an indication, or something that would give me a buffer between 67 and 71, and 68, almost 69 is where I found it. Now we need to see more volume, and I said this yesterday. Yesterday I wasn't very enthusiastic regarding how the candles were looking, but the fact that we actually didn't go under 67.3, I mean, we did, but then we came back. It's kind of positive. We'll see what is the behavior that we find tonight and then tomorrow morning and throughout the day when more volume comes in. But for now, to be honest, the MACD is not looking good. The RSI is not looking good. Well, the RSI, I'm sorry, the TSI is not looking good. And the RSI is looking okay. Anyways, we need more volume. Good thing is a 35 SMA just went on, crashed the 200 SMA. That's a good thing. In general, the trend is, as you can see, is moving up, especially from this area right here. But we still need a little bit more momentum coming from buyers. We'll see what happens. you have to break, I guess, this, you have to maintain this support level at 67.3. You have to break this level at 68.9 to see a continuation towards the 70s, and maybe new all-time highs. We'll see what happens there. If that also happens, then you're going to have other names like Mara, Riot, Coinbase, CLSK, and whatnot moving with Bitcoin as well. Some of them actually had very good moves today, but that's for another video. Okay, let's mention, I think I found, well, I didn't find it. I saw this setup that I thought it was interesting, and let's take a look at card, and that would be basically what we know as Instacart. And I was just looking at this. I don't pay much attention to this company, but I like the fact that you have this nice move right here. Now, MACD and TSI are a little bit elevated, but it's fine. The RSI is not overbought. That's why I'm saying it is fine. Today, it was up 2.45%. I really like this setup. Let's take a look at the weekly and see if there is any, not really. And let's see on the 4 hour. The 4 hour, look at this. It looks even better. Look at that. Anyways, this is some food for thought for you guys. I do believe that I like this setup. If there is a continuation, there is very low liquidity here. So that could be also a little bit risky if you don't maintain this trend line right here. But at least for now, it's behaving pretty well. Nothing going on after hours, no news or anything like that. Earnings are coming on November 12th. Yes. So we'll see what happens. But for now, this is not looking bad at all. You know, I like this setup. You had this continuation here. You had another flag right here. And now we might see something else going on this week. Keep an eye on this. Take a look at the reaction that you have to maybe tomorrow pre-market and in the beginning of the trading day. And that might give you an indication on direction. Especially look for news and something that might be a positive or negative catalyst for this. But again, I do think if you break, let me put something here. If you break this this trend line in particular, and maybe this 42.5, but at least for now, this trend line, then it's a no-go. But if you have a continuation here from this, the side of the body of the candle, something might come out of this one. Especially, again, let's go back to a 4 hour chart. This is looking nice. It's looking pretty nice. All right, let's move on to a name that I've been mentioning, and I like how it's behaving, and that is Clover Health. Let's get rid of this. I did put this right here because we were talking about this pattern right here, and the fact that the pattern was cut right in the middle, which is a great indication by this level. And also you had all this green going on. So I had, well, it could go either way, but I was a little bit more bullish considering that we have all these green candles coming here, and that actually happened. But then what happened later is, and you went almost to this 4.8 resistance level, and you got rejected. Not exactly there, but you got rejected before it. And now you are sitting on the 390 level. I like this, you know, you still have the 35 SMA right here. MACD and TSI are not looking good at all. The RSI is neutral. But I do believe that if we maintain this level, we are probably going to see a little bit of a move to the upside. Now you have a lot of volume here, so that might be a little bit challenging. But also I think if you go down towards 350 and you have good earnings, you know, you have a lot of room here and you have good earnings, I think that we can see another move towards or maintain the 390 level, or maybe go towards, you know, 450 or 480. That would be interesting. I mean, the fact that this is moving the way it does, the fact that it's respecting levels, the fact that it seems a little more stable considering the volume that is coming in. So, you know, to be honest, I'm not disliking Clover. I think that some investors are waking up to this name. I saw some other YouTubers, I think like 2 or 3 days ago, Charlie from, I think it's a SIP trader or SIP Charlie or SIP something, but you guys know who he is. He made an analysis on this, and it's been a long time since he does something like that. But I made a video of Clover about a month ago, or maybe longer, talking about what they are doing and the reason why you're seeing these kind of spikes. And you know, I wouldn't say that I was ahead, but it was pretty obvious what was happening. And then when I found out that management is doing what they are supposed to do, well, I appreciate that kind of stuff, but and I also appreciate the fact that in the technical level, the stock is respecting resistance and is respecting support as well. So we'll see what happens. Today was down almost 3%. Let's take a look at the 5-minute chart and see how this is trading. So you had a nice, actually no, this is the day before, and since yesterday you had these drops. Well, this has been a few days, but today you had a drop and then you were consolidated for the rest of the day. That's not really bad. Again, I think this is respecting levels pretty well. I think you also have room to go towards 350 easy. And if by that time we get good earnings, I think we are probably gonna move towards 480 or maybe 5. We'll see what happens. I still find this name intriguing, considering that this was an absolute meme stock back 4 years ago, 3 years ago. Anyways, let's take a look at CSCO, and an interesting chart actually. I'm very familiar with CSCO. It's been good to me, and I mean this move has been outstanding, no doubt about it. Let's get rid of this because it's, but you know, it feels a little bit extended. I was shorting CSCO here actually on this gap. I was shorting it on this area, and as soon as it got to a 35 SMA and it didn't break, I sold. So that was in September. Wow, man, time is flying. So this wasn't bad, but then I also saw that it was rebounding on the 35 SMA, that it was mounting the 200 SMA. I was out. I just didn't want to. I knew that I wasn't, sure that it was gonna go like this, but I knew that at least this move was losing momentum, and at that point I got out. Well, little that I knew, or I guess lack of, follow up in this case. I didn't pay attention to the fact that it was actually keeping momentum, going over the 200 SMA, breaking this level at 48.8, give or take, and then it just continued going up. Now what I'm seeing is that it looks pretty extended. Let's see how it behaves. I wouldn't be surprised that it's going to take a breather anytime soon. It just would be, it has momentum for sure, but I would be a little bit cautious. You don't have a lot of liquidity here, and you don't have a lot of liquidity to the upside either. So, which makes it interesting, but it also makes it a little bit difficult to trade. So I'm a little bit bearish just for what I'm seeing on the chart. So I think if I see weakness to the downside, I might actually trade this. And again, I'm familiar with how this trades. I've been trading CSCO for a while, but sometimes you miss or sometimes you can lose, and like I totally missed this move, right? And it was pretty obvious. I mean, if I was getting out because I knew this was getting weak, why didn't I get in if I knew that this was gonna reverse? There was gonna be a reversal, but well, I mean, that happens all the time, to be honest. So keep an eye on CSCO. Not a long, I wouldn't go long on this, at least for the short term, but I would definitely look for a better setup. Maybe a couple of more days. I want to see the MACD and the TSI really lose momentum. I want to see more volume from the side of the sellers. And then at that point, maybe makes sense to actually go short on this name. Now let's take a look at, if I can find it, ENPH. And I mentioned ENPH. Let me take a look at my notes. And I was telling you how horrible the chart was looking. And today we are ENPH on the 19th. So earnings were after hours. They're down 12%. I told you this was going to happen. So what I said on the 9th? We were, I think, on this candle. No, it wasn't the 9th. It was the 19th. I'm sorry. So we were looking at this candle right here. Let's zoom in. The 19th was, I think, either Saturday or a Sunday. So it was a Saturday. So I mentioned that on Saturday's video. We were at this candle right here. And what I was saying was that the way that this was moving was very telling. It got rejected here. You had a double top, or maybe you can also argue a triple top. And then you just went down, crashed the 200 SMA, under the 35 SMA, went under the support level at 105, went under 95.4 like nothing, and then you're sitting here. Now you have, I mean, let's do this just because, well, why not? Now you have this gap right here, and you're sitting right in the middle of it. Let's see. I think it's this. You are in the middle of this gap, and you already created another gap. So tomorrow we're going to have a gap inside of this gap. So you're going to be filling this gap a little bit, which is crazy. So it was a big miss. I have no idea what they reported. I just know they missed, and I noticed this. I did make a quick post on X about this name, but we are right here where you see this tiny blue line. Let's go take a look at the 4-hour, and then I'll show you what happened. But definitely doesn't look good. So here you are. You went down. This is pretty dramatic in my opinion. Well, not in my opinion. Everybody can see it. But anyways, let's go to the 1-hour because I'm going to show Starbucks later. You're at this point right now. I think there might be an opportunity to actually buy in when you hit under 75. I think in this area right here where I have this dotted line. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you have this level of support, which maybe I should mention, or I should bring that line right here. Yeah, this is terrible, man. This is terrible news for them. And I just want to see how old. Yeah. Okay. So we are this is not doing good. I'm sorry, I just got a message on my watch and I was reading it. I apologize for that. But anyways, this is not looking good. I do believe that there might be an opportunity to the upside actually if you go under 75. So right now the price is at 80. Let's say 80. If you hit the support level, you probably have a rebound. You're gonna have a gap right here as well. That eventually is going to get filled. So I think that even though this is looking terrible, it's looking bad, and again, I haven't seen the report, so maybe it's an absolute disaster, but there might be an opportunity here to the upside, not immediately, but probably, you know, in a week or so, or in a couple of weeks, there might be an opportunity here. Keep this name on your short list just in case. This could also get worse, but at least for now, I think if we hit 75, which it is a bad case, or under 75, there might be an opportunity here to move. There's very low liquidity here, so if it starts moving to the upside, it's going to move to the upside pretty quickly. For now, just be patient, keep an eye on this, you know, visit this name every now and then and see how the stock is behaving. Let's move on to another name. I do have calls on Google, so let's talk about Google. So definitely I have a little bit of a bias as far as where I would like this to go, but I do have calls that I bought a few days back. They expire in they expire in January 17th. So the fact that this is maintaining the support level with all the news and everything is very nice. We are at 164, 165 as far as support. If we break 170, I think this is just going to start moving quickly. So we'll see what happens here. MACD and TSI are very neutral. The TSI is starting to get a little bit of momentum to the upside, and the RSI is already pointing up and crossing the signal line as well. So I think that a little bit of a momentum indication is going to definitely make us all happy, especially, you know, in my case, I have calls. You have, you know, a volume shelf right here, which tend to be challenging for, you know, for moves here, if they are, in this case, going up or going down as well. But my support level right now is, or your support level could also be 165, 164.3. That's what I have. And my resistance is 170. Again, if we hit 170 and we don't get rejected, this thing is just going to feel this guy. It's just going to move. And that's what I am hoping for. Now, earnings are coming on next week, right? Yeah, in 7 days. So we'll see how that comes out. But I'm not too worried about earnings themselves. We'll see what guidance tell us, and that's going to be what is going to dictate the direction. For now, we are not doing too bad. I like the fact that it's consolidating. I like the fact that it's over the 35 SMA, the 200 SMA, and it's over this resistance level at 164.3. Okay, let's move on to a pretty impressive name that I've been mentioning almost every day now, and that is HIMS. Let me take a quick note, and let's go to this, to the 5 minute. So you started the day here, got rejected, went down, kept going down under the 200 SMA, 35 SMA, 200 SMA. Then buyers came in and there was non-stop. You got rejected on this level again on the 5 minute. Then you went over right at close. Now after hours, it doesn't matter. It's basically flat. But look at this chart. At this point, to be honest, I'm really hoping for this to pull back a little bit towards maybe 21.7 or maybe lower than that. I mean, I wouldn't mind if it goes down to 18.73 and fill this gap, and then I think we can feel confident, or at least I shouldn't say confident, but we feel better going into earnings, which is on November the 4th. That being said, I'm very impressed on how this has moved. We definitely, now we're over price target, which was 23.4. Next price target, I mean, is 25.42. But again, I want to see some red, you know, but that's what I want. That doesn't mean that's what is going to happen. I feel like the MACD and the TSI are starting to get a little bit extended, but they don't look too bad, to be honest. They still have more room to continue going up. The RSI is right at 70. So it's not overbought, but it's right at that level. And so a little bit of red would be nice. But very impressive day today, again, for HIMS, which tells you that there is definitely still interest buying dips, even, you know, in intraday trading. So you had this drop, as I mentioned, buyers came back in, another drop, and then buyers took control, you know, the rest of the day. I mean, you know, when we were in this area, I thought, okay, this is a rejection that I was kind of hoping for, and maybe we go down towards 21 and whatnot, but that didn't actually happen. Again, buyers took control, and that was it, you know. Also, this level is proving to be quite strong as well, the 23.40, or we can say 23.50 if you want to go there. But you know, it got rejected a couple of times and then it got broken. So that being said, I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe see a continuation to the upside. Just be, I don't know. I'm just hoping, you know, for this to cool down a little bit. This is a 4-hour chart, so I have an opportunity to actually buy more. That's it, you know. But and you know, I don't like seeing stocks getting too extended, because you know, there's got to be an opposite reaction or a correction at some point. But again, this name is strong. It looks strong. Another name that I like, I'm not going to mention. Oh yeah, I'm going to mention it today. That is Hood. So let's move on to Hood. Anyways, HIMS is looking great. Really would be great if we go down to the 21 level and maybe play a little bit here, consolidate, and then move up on into earnings. That would be fantastic. Okay, let's move on to Hood. And another name that I said a few days ago, something. you know, I do think that long term, this could easily be an $80 stock. You know, if you're jumping into this short term, it's a little more difficult, obviously, to trade, because then you're trading the ups and downs, and that could be nerve wracking. But I think long term could really do surprise us all and go back to the levels that it was back, what, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, which was 2021. Yeah, 3 years ago. Anyways, I think this still have more room. I would love to see this cooling down a little bit. That would be fantastic. I'm just gonna put a level right here just because I need some reference. But I would love to see this going down towards you know, below 24. I mean, if it goes to 21, it would be an absolute gift. But definitely would love to see this going towards 24. You have very low liquidity here. MACD and TSI are looking extended. RSI is already over. But if there is momentum, that means nothing. Then, you know, these things can just keep going up. So I'm not putting my money on that yet. But I would love, again, to see this cooling down a little bit, and then there would be definitely an opportunity here. If that is the case, so let's say if we go down to 24, to that 24 level, I would probably buy calls for June or July, if they are available, of next year, and just let it ride, you know, because I do believe that there is definitely room for more innovation and for more products and for people coming in. I mean, I was looking at their new platform and I kind of like it, and I was even thinking about going. I used to hate Robinhood because how simplistic their, believe it or not, how simplistic their platform was. But now I'm actually thinking about opening an account again with them, and maybe trade a small account there and see how that goes. I don't know. That might be a good idea. I don't know. I might put like a few $1,000s in it and then run with it and see and run those experiments, maybe. But again, I do believe that management in Robinhood is doing well. I wouldn't be surprised, and they come up with great guidance on earnings. Again, I don't like to trade earnings, but or maybe they come up with something that is not that good, and then your opportunity is there. You know. Anyways, long term, I do think Robinhood is a good opportunity. Again, at least for me, just to get in, I want this to drop. You know, that's that. Let's move on to a name that did pretty well. There was an announcement. Wait, let me find it first. I have the sun hitting my screen. Okay, and that is Microsoft. And up 2.8%. That is a pretty nice move for Microsoft. Now we bounce on this level 4.15, and now we are at what, 427. We did hit 431. Let's go to the 5-minute and see how these levels are working. Look at this thing. So you were up here or down here in the beginning of the trading day, right on this level, and then you went right on this. I mean, this is, again, I'm gonna say it again, levels work. So if you are a beginner trader, or if you are whatever you do, intermediate, whatever, I strongly suggest put levels on your charts. They are there for a reason. Support and resistance basically means the level of supply and demand of the stock. But in this case, you had a beautiful move in the beginning of the day. Look at this, unstoppable. Let's go to 1 minute just to see this. Look at this. Wow. I mean, imagine if you bought like 5 calls right here, you know, with expiration on Friday, so they're cheap. Look at that. Boom. Anyways, and then you actually had a continuation here towards this level. This is looking good. I think there was an announcement. Let's take a look at this news. It's a little, okay, I need to know that. Launch a Copilot Studio in London, enabling business to create autonomous AI agents. Yeah, there was something coming, or there was some news. I heard that I was driving and I heard some news about Microsoft, and I was like, oh, that's the reason why. But in general, the setup was also pretty good. I like the fact that this moved the way it was. It completely mounted at 200 SMA over the 35 SMA. I wouldn't be surprised, and tomorrow I don't think we're gonna have another 2% tomorrow, but I wouldn't be surprised and we consolidate on this level towards 430 and beyond. So I love the setup. MACD and TSI under the 0 line, pointing upwards. RSI, well, you can see that the reaction of today, but this is looking great. Now, I guess we want to break the 430 and then we get into a low liquidity area. Fireworks would come this way. If they actually have good earnings, and most of the times they have pretty decent earnings. Not so much here, as you can tell, but if earnings are decent or, you know, they're good, bada bing, bada boom, we're going to go towards 445. This level is pretty strong as well. So let's break 430, see how that happens, and then we might see a nice move. But again, earnings are coming next week, so that could be a little bit of, you know, I don't know, scary as far as trading, at least for me. Anyways, I like Microsoft. It's looking great. I've been calling Microsoft for a few videos already, and it finally came. Since I mentioned Bitcoin, I'm gonna mention Riot again. The reason why I mentioned Riot the other day and I mentioned it yesterday and I'm mentioning it today is because the consistency on the chart. That's what I said yesterday. Another thing that I said was, like, if Bitcoin doesn't perform, you might see a reversal towards 8.75. Well, that actually didn't happen. Bitcoin is kind of flat, you know, it's defending a support level right now. I think is the support level is 67.3. And but here you have Riot actually not doing bad at all. So it was up almost 2% today, 1.85% as you, well, never mind, but 1.85%. It's a little bit overbought. It looks a little bit extended on the TSI, but the MACD is not looking too bad. Again, I wouldn't be surprised that if Bitcoin doesn't maintain support or drops and continues dropping, you might see a pullback towards 870.75. But for now, this is not looking bad at all. I like the fact that this move has been very consistent. Nothing spiky or anything like that. But now we are also on a high liquidity area, which, you know, it could be challenging. You have this resistance level at the 200 SMA. We'll see if it breaks or gets rejected. Definitely a name to keep an eye on. I think if we see a move towards 68,000 on Bitcoin, then this name is going to rally. I'm really keeping an eye on Riot because, again, it's moving very consistently compared to other names. Now, the last one. Now let's take out the last name of the video, and that would be Starbucks. So they are down almost 5% after hours. I do believe that there's probably more opportunity to play to the downside. You basically have no liquidity on this area. Let's go to the 4-minute. I'm sorry, to the 4-hour chart. And you have this very, you know, heavy candle right here to the downside. They definitely missed expectations on the reports, and they also gave guidance of, or basically they announced that there is not going to be guidance for the entire year of 2025. That's a really bad indication. Their sales went down by 7%, I believe, so that's also bad. We'll see what is the reaction after opening. I was talking about you know, the fact that this name was very extended. Let's move this lower out of the way. Right when we were over here, I was shorting this name around here, and then I got out when we were bouncing on this resistance level at or I'm sorry, support level at 90.25, and then you also were going over the 325 SMA. So at that point I was out, and then I left it alone. I didn't even look at it until today. The wick on the 4-hour chart of that one candle goes all the way down to basically the 200 SMA. So this gap is going to start closing, but then you're opening another gap right here. This chart looks pretty messy in my opinion. You have a huge volume gap right here that goes basically from 91 all the way down to below 80 pretty much. So I think we do have room to go down to to the 80s right now. We'll see what happens tomorrow. This is going to be an interesting name to see if there's opportunity for to the downside. This is not a good indication for this company. I hate to say it, but again, I've been a critic of Starbucks for quite a while, for not only the product, but the pricing, the fact that they really don't care much about the competition, which is pretty obvious. At least where I live, Dutch brothers are all over the place and everybody loves them, versus Starbucks is not the same anymore. It's almost like, I don't know. Anyways, I don't want to get there, but it looks for now that there's probably an opportunity. We'll see how this behaves in the next few days, but there's probably an opportunity for this name to go down towards below 80 or 80. And if that is the case, I'm definitely going to take advantage of it. But we'll see how the chart looks tomorrow after we open, and the reaction that we get during the trading hours. And based upon that, maybe by the end of the day, I would make a decision if it's a good idea to get in or not. But anyways, Starbucks, one of the names that I was saying that look pretty extended and whatnot, now is down at, I think it's 80 something, 80, I think it's like 87 or 80. Let's take a look at the 4 before I close on the 4 hour. Yeah, it's down at 92, right? So I do believe that there is definitely room to continue filling this gap towards 80 in this area right here. If that is the case, there's money on the table that should be picked up. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you. Bye-bye.